We're live with what makes great shooters. Man, one of my favorite topics. So, welcome to the Coach's Edge podcast. Thanks for joining us today. And man, we have so much content coming out in the next few months regarding shooting the basketball, and it's already started. And so, on this quick hitter episode, I want to talk about some of the things in my mind that make great shooters because it's game season. It is game season for players. It is even more game season, in my opinion, for coaches, because if you're a high school basketball coach, you've probably been on spring break already, get a chance to kind of rest, reflect, refocus. And now you can start to put a plan in place for how we're going to get better for next basketball season. What's that going to look like in the spring? What's that going to look like during the summer with our summer basketball camps, with our team camps, with our off-season workouts? You start to move forward. Maybe your players, maybe they're playing a spring sport. Maybe they're playing baseball. Maybe they're playing softball. Maybe they're running track, soccer, whatever that might be. And great for them. But for you as a coach, I mean, this is a great opportunity for you to continue to improve your game and improve your craft. And if you had the chance to listen to one of our last episodes with Coach Dave Boyce, one of the winningest active coaches in Ohio, he was talking about how can we get a month better? Can we get 2 months better? Can we get better to the point so we're already slightly ahead of our competition before June basketball even starts, and we start some of those competitions that most other teams are doing with shootouts and team camps, things of that nature. And a lot of that comes back into, how can we help our individual players succeed? One of those aspects, and the one that he mentioned the most, was shooting the basketball. As a coach, it's our job to design a defense to stop the other team from scoring. It's our job to design an offense that puts us in the best position to score. But from the individual standpoint, how can we get our players to be better shooters? That's something that they can do. We have to outscore our opponent if we're going to be successful. Shooting is huge. So with that in mind, I want to invite you to our April 19th presentation, where I'm taking a deep dive into shooting the basketball. It's a free Zoom presentation. I want you to jump in with me. And there is no one size fits all. There is no perfect, all encompassing anything on shooting the basketball. We all continue to learn more and more about it, but I'm going to share what I know about shooting, what I've found to be successful with the players and the programs that I've had the chance to work with, and having a lot of success shooting the basketball myself as a player with you guys in that Zoom presentation. So if you want to reach out, you want to sign up for that free Zoom, reach out to me. It's contact@kramerbasketball.com. We got a bunch of free Zooms coming up. We have a FIBA coach, FIBA 3-on-3 coach, Chuck Arnold. We got a former Division I coach, Larry DeSempler, who's going to be on. We got a 2-3 zone offense presentation. We have national champion Southern Maine Community College, AJ Burton, is joining the show, and he's doing a presentation and showing a bunch of video on their 4-out 1-in motion offense, how they build it up, some of the success that they've had. Really good, right? They just won the national title for the USC AA, which is Southern Maine Community College, that division, and I've had a lot of success there. So we got some awesome Zooms coming up, all free, that basically give you a sneak peek at a part of the Coach's Edge.coach membership. It's not just resources. You pay a monthly fee, you go to the website, you get drills and plays and videos and all that stuff. We got that, a lot, hundreds of them, in fact. Not just myself, with other contributors to the website, but it's bigger than that. It's a community. We do Zooms at least a couple times every single month with guest speakers, presentations. So we're just kind of giving you a taste. That's open to the public. Anybody can come. If you're a parent and you want to come, if you are a player and you want to come, hit me up, sign up. We'll send you the link. You can also register at kramerbasketball.com/events. Getting back to the subject of this episode, what makes great shooters? We want everybody to be a great shooter on our team. It's not going to happen for everybody, right? And I think some of the reasons are the ones that I'm going to list right here. I got my notes right here. I think great shooters love to shoot. Not everybody loves to shoot. Not everybody likes to go out into the driveway. Not everybody likes to get up early or stay late and just get up a ton of shots, right? I've never met a great shooter who didn't shoot a lot. Never. Right. And I've worked with some players who had really sound fundamental technique, hard workers, listened well. When they shot the basketball, you'd look at them and be like, yeah, that's how you shoot the ball. They didn't practice a lot. So they weren't ever good, right? You didn't get the reps in to figure out, oh, this is how it's done, right? The touch, because basketball and shooting is so much about feel, right? It's part art, it's part science. And the art aspect, I think, comes from a lot of the repetition of just feeling the shot and the space and the timing and the release. And so many of those things that are slightly different for every player. And for those to get really good and figure out what is your shot, knowing your shot, which is huge when it comes to being a great shooter, you got to love to shoot because you're not born a great shooter. Nobody is. But if you love it and you live it consistently, you can become a great shooter. And I think that's the second one that goes in with the love is you have to be consistent. You can't put up 1,000 shots one day and then not shoot the rest of the week and then shoot another 1,000 shots, the next week one time and then you don't shoot. It has to be consistent. I would rather you shoot 200 or 250 shots every single day, very consistently on shots that are going to happen for you in a game. And then you move on with the rest of your day. I'd much rather have you do that than put in a big block of time one day a week, for example. That's not going to get it done. Great shooters are consistent. Great shooters are also confident. And they're really, really great shooters. They're almost irrationally confident. They have high expectations for themselves, combined with they're usually also hard on themselves, right? Because they have such high expectations for their performance, right? If they don't quite get something right, they're hard on themselves. Say, I'm going to get better at that. I'm going to continue to get in the lab and improve my shot. And so they have that characteristic of high expectation combined with something that doesn't make sense with having this ultra confident high expectation for themselves. And that's having a short-term memory. Great shooters, those ones that can get like hot where they've been bricking shots the whole first half. And then all of a sudden they come out in the third quarter and they hit 5 straight. They have this almost irrational confidence combined with this short-term memory of, you know what, I may have missed 10 shots, but you know what? The next one's going in. And if you miss that one, the next one's going in. And I'll tell you a kind of a sad story about my playing career was we're in the Elite Eight. We got a chance to go to the Final Four. We got a chance to have one of the best seasons in school history. And I mean, it probably was like a top 10 season in school history at Hope College, but we're in the Elite Eight. And I played like a dog the first half. This is to go to the Final Four. This is like the biggest game of my life. I play like a dog the first half. I think I shot 1 for 9 or something in the first half. I'm the best player. I'm the leading scorer. I've been the one averaging like 30 a game in the NCAA tournament, and I'm playing terrible. And the team is, we're just sluggish on offense. We needed somebody to like get us going. And I bounced out of it. And I think I made like 9 out of my 11 shots in the second half. Don't quote me on the exact stats, but I basically made like 80% of my shots in the second half. And it wasn't enough. We lost by 3 or 6, something like that. And I'm like, dang, man, if I would have, it's my fault. That's the way I look at it. Like, it's my fault. We should have at least gone to the Final Four in the next round, right? Maybe won it all. I played like a dog for a half. We lost the game. But to come back to shooting, most players, if they're 1 for 9 and a half, what are they going to do? They're going to either continue to play like a dog and throw up bricks the rest of the game, or they're going to stop shooting, right? But the mindset for a scorer, for a shooter, is different. Like, you know what? Maybe I played like garbage, right? I can admit that, right? I'm not making excuses, but it's not going to happen again. I'm going to make that next shot. I'm going to knock down that next shot. The next shot is going in. And I think that's something that great shooters have is the mindset of having high expectations for themselves, being hard on themselves while being almost irrationally confident, combined with short-term memory. Got to have a short-term memory. Things don't go well. Hey, there's only 2 things that can happen when you take a shot. You make it or you miss it. That's it. Then you take the next shot. There's only 2 things that can happen. You can make it or you miss it, right? Short-term memory, whatever happens, happens. Each shot is its own individual shot. There is in a sense, no carryover from the previous shot. But at the same time, when you start get rolling as a shooter, it starts feeling good. And you're like, I just need to get the shot up because I know if I shoot it, it's going to go in. That's a great feeling to have. Another thing that comes in with great shooters know their shot. They know their shot better than anybody else, better than their coaches, better than their teammates, better than their opponent. They know the spots that they need to get to. They know the rhythm that they need to be in. They know if, like, what's the distance? Is it preferably going left? What's the action coming off of a curl? That's my money shot. How do I need to set this up? How do I need to time it when I'm spotting up on the perimeter off of a driving kick or a post entry kick? And, as I'm drifting down, they know the shots that make them really, really good. And they hunt those shots like a shark in a seal in Australia, fighting for those shots. And that's how they do their thing, right? Is they have a better idea. And the reason I say this is because there's a lot of kids who I'll see and I'll just watch them and I'll say, they don't know their shot. They don't know what their strengths are, their weaknesses are, what they're really, really good at. And you can just tell that by the way they're going out and playing the game, right? They're kind of like I'm using another animal analogy. Sorry, I'm being a little weird here, but it's kind of like that baby animal in Africa that's born and they're just kind of flopping around and they don't really know what's going on. And you're like, you better grow up quick, right? Because in a game of basketball, you're going to get put on the bench. And then if you're in Africa, you're going to get hunted down, eaten by something else. So I hope that makes sense. So they know their shot. They know who they are. With that said, that ties into one of the most important areas of shooting the basketball for anybody is shot selection, right? When you know your shot, you understand shot selection, your money shots, and that's how you build out your game. What are you trying to do? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where are the spots on the court? Where with the motion offense or the sets that you run that, like, this is for me. This is my shot. I'm hunting these things down. I think those things are huge. So quick review, and then I got some other things regarding shooting I want to throw at you real quick before I let you go. Great shooters love to shoot. They're super consistent in their workout. They're confident, almost irrationally confident with these high expectations combined with a short-term memory. And then the know your shot selection piece is huge. Nobody should know your shot better than a player. And as a coach, it's our job, I guess my job in player development, because we teach shooting a lot, is to help the players I work with understand what their shot is and to have some of those conversations, to have different workouts where we're working on different types of shots and to be able to explain, like, listen, when you do this specific shot, right, you're not even making half of them. When you do this specific shot, you're shooting well over 50%. Like, what are those things? And then you see the light bulbs start to go on for players. And then all of a sudden they'll take like a jump in their game. Not even like every once in a while, something clicks for a player. And it's not even the gradual, like slowly coming up. It's like struggle, boom, just level up because a light went on. And oftentimes it's the mental side of they have a better understanding for now what is going to help make them successful. That is huge. So what is going to make people successful for a coach? Again, come to our Coach's Edge, our Zoom presentation, and we'll get super specific. But if you're not shooting the basketball straight, you're in big trouble. So that's huge. And I mean, if it's not straight, you're going to miss it, right? And from the motion aspect, are you generating power more efficiently? Is it fluid? Is it a smooth release, which allows you to have not only power, but some quickness as the ball pops out? Or is it almost a struggle? And that's what we see with players, especially in today's game. A lot more players are stretching out. A lot more players are shooting 3-point shots. And you see some players who, because of that efficient power aspect, they may be able to can a bunch of 15-footers, but they're never able to pull it back another 4 or 5 feet to shooting threes consistently. And it's because of that piece. Yeah, the shot might be straight, but how they generate and get up into that shot, that fluidity of the shot is not there. And so that's something that we can work on as well. And that can be tough because every player is a little bit different, but rhythm has a lot to do with that. So do you know when you get into some of these off-season workouts and some of your player development camps, what each player's most important aspect is for shooting? And when I say that, like, what's the biggest reason why they're making shots? And then ask, what's the biggest reason why they're missing shots? And part of that goes back into, well, what's a common miss that they have, right? So you're asking, so much of learning about good shooters and about your players is just simply asking the right questions. What is leading to your made shots? What's leading to your missed shots? What is there a commonality with how the shot is being missed? All of these things can go into helping us work with our players better. Or as a player, you're listening to this, you're watching this, and you're just like, yeah, like these things, one of these things apply to me. Like, is your wrist loaded? Like I can't, I've said before, I can't get my wrist 90 degrees. I know that's how some people teach it. That's not happening for me, but I still want my wrist loaded, right? I'm not going to shoot with like a flat wrist and then kind of sling it back as I bring the basketball up towards my head. I do want my wrist loaded before the basketball comes up. I know that if I want to have good power in my shot, the ball needs to move first before I unload my body. We talk about levers, talk about the levers in our lower body of hips, knees, and ankles unloading at the right time to get power. Well, the ball needs to move first before we can even get into that. You see players that will struggle because they'll like unload the lower body before the basketball is even getting into that release of the shot. So they'll lose a lot of power in that shot because the timing of it is off. So understand your player's strengths, right? What makes you a successful shooter? What are some of your biggest weaknesses? What are some of the common misses that you have? And once we understand what some of those issues are, then how do we fix those things, right? Can't fix anything if we don't know what the problem is. Once we figure out what the problem is, now is it your hand placement on the basketball? Is it an issue with your stance? For many players, is it the timing of the release and the momentum of the ball because the levers are unloading at a fluid time to generate power on the shot? And when we're not doing that fluidly, now you start to make up for it, right? And you start to make up for it, generating power in different ways. So now you really start to like pushing it with the shoulder. You start to use the offhand. Your elbow might start to do something wacky. Maybe your release gets a little bit lower because you want a little more power than you really need because the fluidity of the shot is taken off because you're not using some of those lower body levers as the basketball comes out. So we figure out as players how to get the basketball to the hoop. But if it's not efficient, now we're actually hurting ourselves. And that's the fun part of being a coach. That's also the frustrating part of being a coach, is trying to, get players to understand and make some of these changes, because as much as a coach, you can see a problem, right? And you want somebody to fix it. At the end of the day, it's up to them to fix it, right? You can only show them so much of the blueprint, but it's up to you to try to ask them the right questions, give them some of the right answers based on your experience, and more importantly, ask them the right questions, because the answer that they come up with might be better than the answer that you even could have given themselves as far as how it makes sense. Because everybody learns a little bit differently, right? If you're more auditory, kinesthetic, visual, right? So some of that type of instruction comes into play as well. So with that in mind on shooting, this is a quick hitter episode on shooting. We're taking a deep dive into shooting in a couple different ways. One, during the summer, we have my shooting guy, Jaden Nichols from Northwest Ohio. Him and I are doing like a 10-part podcast series all on shooting, specific subjects, right? Shot preparation, form shooting, shooting drills, mental side of shooting mechanics, evaluating player shot, like game practice, in-season shooting drills. Like, we're taking a deep dive into shooting the basketball. So this is a heads up for what's to come during the summer. And then with the Coach's Edge Coach membership, tons of content and resources regarding shooting the basketball. I mentioned the Zoom presentation. We just uploaded my 10 favorite shooting drills as a PDF that we've already uploaded to our coaching members. And then we're going to record all those videos with some of the higher level players that we train during the summer. We'll put that up on the Coach's Edge site so you can see like really high level players doing the drill, showing you how it's supposed to look with the timing, the scoring. I think great drills are not only game, you see like this is what I would do in a game, right? These are shots that I would take in a game. It's not just that, but when you're thinking of a good drill, usually there's like time, there's score, there's something competitive bounced into that that makes it really fun, and players want to keep doing it, getting a better score, getting a better time, more makes, whatever that might be. And that's what every single one of our Coach's Edge drills does as well. So lots in store with the Coach's Edge, with shooting the basketball. If you have questions about our Coach's Edge.coach membership, which we're really pushing towards the end of this month, please let me know. If you are a coach, you're like, man, I want some of these resources. I want some of the videos. I want to be in some of these Coach's Edge meetings. I want to see, is this guy really that fired up about basketball all the time? The answer is yes, I am that fired up about basketball all the time. Check out coachesedge.coach. Email me, contact@kramerbasketball.com. I'll get back to you, and maybe we can set up a Zoom call and I can walk you through the back end of the website and show you a little bit of how we serve coaches around the country. We got some really good programs in here, which makes it really cool to be a part of teams a little bit that are winning, making runs in the tournament, as well as teams that are kind of in a reboot. Like, hey, we want a fresh start. We want to get things up and running. And to be a part of that growth process is really cool for me as a basketball coach as well. So thank you for listening. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. Get after today.